right. Hello and welcome to the second monthly PHP Adventures meetup. Let's start off here with some breaking PHP news. I actually don't have a huge list here today, so hopefully we got more for next time. Just today, there was a security and bug fix release, PHP 8.0.2. So if you're still on 8.0, consider upgrading for security and bug fixes there. I think there was also a update for Laravel in the last week or so here, so make sure you grab that too. Something I've seen show up in a few feeds here. Let me switch to a screen where you can see what's behind me. I'll open a browser. Is if you are using Laravel, it's a great resource here, artisan.page. This is the Laravel Artisan cheat sheet. So especially if you're getting started, but even if you're mature with Laravel or have been using it for a long time and are a veteran, you can use this as a quick reference for which commands and features you have available in Artisan. So it's a really comprehensive cheat sheet that gives you everything you need day to day. So consider giving that a bookmark if you plan on diving into Laravel or are already using it on the daily. It sounds like this just came out recently. So yeah, get it while it's hot. Okay. For our topic today, we are looking at image manipulation in PHP. This is kind of just a couple beginner examples we'll be rolling through today, just to see what's up with the graphics draw library in PHP. So if you've never been exposed to it, this is a great chance to get some exposure. I do have a GitHub repository up and open for this. It's just about empty right now, just got this README so far, but as we go through our talk today, I'll be sure to push at least by the end there, and if you want to grab it down and play with it, feel free. Let me see if I can find the Jitsi chat. Drop the link there. There you go. So if you do want to grab it at any point, or you see me push it and you're curious to poke around yourself, have a look. Okay. So, let's see. What did we want to look at first here? I think we will go with not that one, but one second here. Sorry, my notes have escaped me. Not that one, not this one, but 1, 2, 3. This one. Okay, I think this is the one we're looking for. All right. So I'll have another link for you here. If we go into the official php.net docs and look for the GD documentation, graphics draw, I think that's this guy here. It's the full function reference, this first one then. Okay, so this is where we're going to be kind of pulling some knowledge from today. If you're curious where this comes from, GD is a graphics library that PHP has support for. And using this, we're able to do all sorts of things, including merge multiple images together, recolor images. You actually have the ability to read color values on a per pixel basis. So I believe Neopets, it's a bad example because I believe it's a Java set of Java applets and a Java website. But if it were to use PHP, those pets that have dynamic colors and things that you can pick, you could achieve that using PHP. If you had, maybe you would make the pet by default some crazy color like magenta or green, like a green screen or something like that. And then you can target a range of colors and recolor what you're delivering the user on the fly if you needed to, right? Or you could cache that image once you've generated that particular color once, and then just serve the generated image each time. If the generated image doesn't exist, fill that in, kind of thing, right? So lots of flexibility here. It's also commonly used for things like watermarks. And one thing I wish I had time to create an example of for today, but if you go to something like the Google Calendar, I don't know if I can go in without logging in here, but there are a variety of sites that have dynamic favicons, which is super cool. So again, I don't know if this is going to open for us. I probably have to sign in. Let's see if I have any sensitive doctor appointments or something in my calendar. Maybe I can show it on the screen for just a sec here. Okay, no, I think that'll be okay. Okay, so if you see in this window here, the favicon itself actually has a number 9 on it because it is June 9th, right? So you could use something like this to grab text and dynamically generate an image like this for a favicon on a day-to-day basis. Or in general, we could use PHP to decide if we had a list of, 31 GIFs, we could already pick from those. But I think it's cool that we could dynamically change that, right? Maybe we have a different color for every month, or it's a random color each time, or something like that. You have all these options available to you. Okay, so they do have some details here on how to install and configure. Basically, what you would end up needing to do is firstly, you want to enable the GD library extension in PHP. So this should come with PHP out of the box. If you don't have it, you can look into resources for grabbing it. But what you end up doing is in your terminal here, if you don't already know where your PHP INI, your configuration file, exists, here's a quick way to grab that. PHP-i grep php.ini. So PHP, we're grabbing all of our info from our current PHP environment, and then I'm just narrowing it down to specifically the part about our INI file. This is the file we edit to enable, disable extensions, things like that. And I can see here that for my particular installation, it's in our etc folder, PHP folder, 8.0 folder, CLI folder, and ultimately there is that file. So as convenience here, I can quickly copy that, and then I could Vim or Nano or whatever I want to do that particular file, and we'll be able to go down and see if that particular extension is enabled or not, or maybe more appropriately, since I'm already in Visual Studio Code, we could say code. We trust it. Okay. And now we're in that file. So in the INI file, these semicolons here are comments. And if we're searching for the GD extension here, we can see that it's currently disabled. So we could go about removing the comment, saving that. Oh, just gonna throw in my password here. Okay. And there you go. It should be considered enabled. Whenever we're running our PHP scripts from this point on, it should keep in mind that we do have this extension enabled and give us access to any functions or classes afforded to us by this library. All right.
Just a quick question about that. Are there any steps that you need to take to enable it if you're running a web server such as Apache or Nginx?
It should be the exact same step. It should just be most default PHP installations have the extension like available to you. It's just usually disabled by default. So you would have to just locate your INI. So if you can SSH into your server, you should be able to run the same command here, that grep, to grab the location, and then you can nano in there or use whatever you have available. Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think just in the case of Apache, you have to do a restart on it in order for it to be recognized.
I'm not sure. I'd have to run a test on that. But typically, PHP is pretty good at on the fly picking that stuff up. Like even my terminal, if I've made that change with the terminal already open, I wouldn't even have to restart the terminal. It's usually pretty snappy at grabbing info like that. But it might be more sticky in Apache.
Yeah. Well, any future viewers will at least know where to look if they have trouble with the server side, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You can just restart your HTTPD or whatever and see if it's working after. Hopefully you're not writing and testing this on production anyway, so you have a minute or two to troubleshoot. Okay, so if we've met those requisites, we should have everything in those docs available to us. For convenience, I should probably throw the docs in here as well. Okay. So with that in mind, and without further ado, let's see about working with these features. So I think one of the most basic examples that's covered in, I've got a textbook right beside me here. I like the O'Reilly series personally. I don't know how well this will show on a green screen. Oh, it didn't chroma key yet. That's nice. But in this book, as well as in the official docs, they have similar examples of using the graphics draw library of including dynamic text over an image, which I think was a more popular use case when CSS was a bit more limited. With current CSS, I see less of a need for this outside of interesting cases like the idea of a colored pet as a dynamic image, right? Or potentially like those favicons are another really cool modern use case, I think, that could still come up. But this example will let us unpack some of the basic functions and basic features of the graphics draw library. So I will quickly push that just so the notes are up there. Ooh, I put a space. I did put a space. There we go. Okay. So I'm gonna make a new file here. Maybe we'll just call this 01 GD example.php. It's about dynamic buttons, so maybe we'll say GD buttons, a little more descriptive. Nice. Okay. We will run this as a web page, I think, so let's start with our quick boilerplate. When GD buttons. 01 GD buttons. Okay, we got a basic web page here. So our goal for this example will be to find a way to have some links to some stuff. Maybe we'll go with phpadventures.com as our first example here. But instead of just putting in text and spending time on CSS, we'll go with an image. So we'd have the opportunity to have as fancy of an image as we want, right? We could have some, if we were maybe making a website for like a fantasy author or something, you maybe want your buttons to be quite complex. Maybe they have like these gold encrusted and borders with like some fancy background graphic or something like that, right? I don't know. But we want to find a way here to generate an image that's going to be more complex than hopefully what CSS can easily provide us. And we want that to be done by PHP. So our source here is going to be the magic. So maybe we'll go with button. We'll call upon ourselves, I think. 01 gd buttons.php. So if I do something like this, we'll just have to be sure that the beginning of our script here, we're going to make a distinction. We're going to say if we're requesting specifically an image with text, we're going to return an image binary. That way we can just populate our image with that. Otherwise, we're going to just present the web page. So web page will be the default. If you're familiar with query parameters, we can say something like, just say text equals PHP adventures. Something like this. So the idea here is we want to find a way to reach out to a PHP script, get an image back instead of a web page. Query parameter we're going to use for dynamic text. So we could have any button we want with any text we want, all dynamic. And we should have a fallback in alt just in case something is to go wrong or someone has images disabled in their browser or something like this. Okay, so is our goal clear? We want to find a way to make this image dynamic in its text and include a special background image.
You just jump in for a sec.
Yeah.
The alt text as well is really important for accessibility. There are a lot of people out there who have issues with reading the screen. They may be visually impaired or have other reasons. It also helps a lot with searchability. So having good alt text is always a good practice.
Absolutely. We should have good file names, good alt text. Title sounds extraneous in a number of cases, but yeah, alt text is a big one. For sure, for sure. I wish he was here this time. Our last meetup, we had a guy named Ivan in here, and he's like a accessibility specialist. Always good chats.
Hopefully he'll be back next time.
I'll make sure to poke him for next time. All right. So if we want to have dynamic text implanted on an image, we will first need an image as well, right? So I kind of pre-downloaded one from a free stock site. I will drop the link in our chat here as well if you want to check it out. And I'll open it here on screen quick just so we can see what we're working with. I think it was this one here. Yeah. So this is a really basic button, but of course you could get more creative. You could design your own image with a lot more complexity. I like Pixabay just because it's free for commercial use, no attribution required, so we don't have to worry too much about that. But I like to include the link anyways. If you're curious about the author, who appears to be named 1117826, a very catchy name, you can go check out what other images they've provided. All right. So we'll be basically just placing dynamic text on this background. I will need to have that image present in our project. So let me create a folder for images or assets. I'll call it assets today. Why not? Okay. And where's my downloads folder? Okay. So I don't think I have anything weird in my downloads. We're good. Button.png. This is just one that's cropped a little bit so it doesn't have the extra white space. Just gonna drop it in our assets. There it is. Nice little image. Okay. So we have an asset. Now for our PHP. Again, I'm going to try to get away with keeping our example pretty simple and just in one file, just focusing on this whole image concept. So we're reaching out to the same file, so we'll need to have a way of accepting this query parameter. Simplest way is that should be part of your get super global. So we should be able to say if is set get text. We're just matching the name of our query parameter key to the value. Key is text, value is PHP adventures in this example, right? Okay, so we have that. So inside here, if this is set, we could do more checks, check if it's empty or whatever too, but let's just say if it's set, we're going to run our image code, right? And at some point in here, it'll basically be having to end in an exit so that we're not also sending the web page. We'll want to just send an image stream. Okay. So for our image generation code here, we will want to, there we go, it's a little better. First specify in a header that what we're sending is not going to be a web page in this case. Content type is actually going to be image slash, what's our type here? We can go with PNG. This button's already a PNG for me. Okay, so image slash PNG. Let's for ease of use as well, we can define a quick constant. We'll say define asset directory. And we'll just say that's the current directory. What is it here? Directory separator and assets. I don't think this matters too much. A / should be fine for Windows or Linux, but just to be super safe, I believe that should be fine. Okay, so we have the asset directory. We're setting our content type. Okay. So next up would be, I'll just assign it in a variable here so we don't have to worry about saying get underscore all the time. Okay, we have our string, nice and easy. Let's also grab our image. So for this, now we're going to start actually using the GD functions. So in order to actually create an image that PHP can work with from the GD library, we're going to say image create from PNG. Functions in PHP are not case sensitive, so it's up to you. You could camel case or Pascal case or whatever the heck you want. You could do something like that if it's a bit easier to read. And we'll say in our asset directory, we want the, what did we call it here? Just button? Yep. Button.png. Okay, so we have our text and we have our image. Next up, we should define a color for our text. Say font color equals image color allocate. This is always fun too, being in Canada, using the OU in your variable names, and then every function, of course, is going to be the American way. Okay, so we will have to target the image that we want to set a color for. So this is just allocating a color, and then we can apply it to things, either individual pixels on the image or to text we apply to the image. So we do have to still specify the image. Okay, so the image we want to get a color ready for, and then it's just RGB after that. So let's say we want white text. That should show up okay on a red background. That would just be our 255, 255, 255. Red, green, blue. So all three, red, green, blue, 255 should be white. All right, so again, we have our text, we have our image, we have a font color. So I think we have just about all the pieces we would need to kind of glue these things together. We should, this would be optional, I guess, because I think there's a default size, but we should also set our font size. That would probably be a good idea. Otherwise, it's probably going to be way bigger or smaller than we think. There's a few, we could just set a number and see how it goes, or we can do math based on the image size. Let's try a number. We can play with it. We'll start with 12. And if it's way too big or too small, we can adjust that for sure. Okay. Next up, we're going to add the string to our image. So we can use the image string function for this. So we have to set our image. We have to set our font size. That one's pretty self-explanatory with our naming here. Next one. Oh, okay. We will try 2 and 10 and see how that goes. These are the coordinates that the text should be printed on. So this would be the X coordinate on the image from top left. And then this one would be your Y coordinate. So we'll see, again, we'll probably have to play with the numbers today, but we'll see how that looks to kind of start things off. We need our string. And finally, we can define which color we want to use. So we have a handler here, or a reference here from this function. So we'll grab that as well. Size of font, color of font. Simple enough stuff here. Of course, this is way fewer lines if we don't break it out into separate lines, but for making this example easy to follow for later use, I'm just going to be breaking things out into separate lines. Okay. Next step here, before we exit, we want to do image PNG function. And what this actually does is sends the image. We have to specify which image. I think we called our image. This is what we've been updating with our functions, right? So we grabbed the image and then we added the string to that image. So this image has been updated in the server or program memory, and image PNG will send that back, in this case to the browser. And it's good practice to image destroy, but PHP should know to clear up that memory right away anyways. Okay. And I believe that should be enough for us to at least run a test and then see which numbers we have to tweak. Let me zoom out a bit here. It's not so much code. It's basically, we grabbed an asset directory. We set a header to make sure it's going to be treated as an image when it gets to the browser instead of a web page. We got our string, our image, font color, font size, add the string to the image, send it to the browser. So realistically, this is probably what, like 5 or 6 lines kind of thing. And we're achieving or what should be, once we run our test, it should be a dynamic image with dynamic text in it, right? Now let's see if we made a horrible mistake or not. For easy testing here, I am going to take advantage of our PHP server. Localhost, I'll just do 3000. Okay, looks happy. In our browser now, let me visit our localhost 3000. And I'm willing to visit our specific page here, that's right. So 01, was it button, GD button? There we go, okay. Oh, that's pretty close actually. I wasn't sure if I got the font size right at all or not. So good to see that it is definitely fitting in the button right there. Very nice. Okay. So we can see it says PHP Adventures. This was a link wrapped around a button, so I can actually click on it and visit the site. Awesome. Okay. So completely dynamic. We probably wanted to nudge it down on just a little bit for the Y coordinate. So maybe we'll try 12. See how that looks? I'll refresh. Ooh, maybe just a bit more. All right, nice. And just as proof of concept here, for a dynamic image, I should actually, semantic HTML, probably should throw it at least in a paragraph or a list or something, but let's link to a couple more sites. Said you work at BioWare, right? Let's find their official site. All right. BioWare. Unless you don't want to think about work. My apologies then. Oh, what's their official capitalization? Like this? Capital W? BioWare?
You got it.
All right. It probably won't look as centered. We'll find out in a second here though. Okay. There we go. Another dynamic button. Nice, nice. So I think I'll push what we have here. Get that all. So if you do want to play with that in real time, feel free. But I think for our font size, I had seen a tiny little recipe somewhere. Yeah, okay. This is what I saw recommended. Is instead of putting just a number here, we could write out a basic math here. So we could do image, images X. We're going to get the image width. And then minus 7.5. This is a number you'd have to play with, but you would reduce your size of your font a set amount based on the size of your image. Inside here. And then find the length of your string. And ultimately, it looks like we divide that by 2. This is supposed to be a decent ratio for font size to image. So we can see if that plays nice or not. What did I do with my... I just have extra parentheses for no reason, probably. Okay. So image width minus 7.5 times the length of the string, number of characters, ultimately divided by 2. So let's see. That's supposed to be a decent ratio for keeping things kind of in a nice place in terms of sizing. It's basically what we had in this case, but I don't know. It's supposed to be useful if you want to make sure it fits in your image nice. Maybe I'll just leave it as 12 for now, but it's in the video. I can paste it in the chat if you want to play with that later. Okay. For dynamic centering, we could do similar calculations and stuff like that, where we can check based on the number of characters in the string and then bump the x coordinate a certain amount or a certain ratio as well, right? So if we wanted to center BioWare, we could look into that. All right. But yeah, so that's some basic image manipulation right there. Another example I wanted to have a look at today was going to be a basic watermarking program. Oh, actually, there is a glitch right now in this particular one we're already looking at, and that's the default background color is black, and these were transparent buttons, I believe. Yeah. You can see that there's kind of like those the square pattern behind, right? This is supposed to be transparent. So that's no good. We do have to specify in graphics draw library if we want to keep transparency or not. By default, it's going to try and save on worrying about alpha channels at all, unless we let it know that we care about that. So I think all we have to do is add one more function here. Image save with transparency. Save transparency. Okay. So this is one you'll probably commonly use if you're playing with any transparency in your images. Of course, this will not be compatible with if you're doing image create from JPEG. JPEGs, of course, cannot really support transparency, so you'd be out of luck there. But for image types that support it, PNG, GIF, things like that, you should be able to use that. That's an important one, though. Yep. Let's have a look if that worked. Uh-oh. Did I break everything? We said which image we want to work on. Why is it upset? Do we see anything in our terminal? Okay. Image save trans... Did I spell something wrong? Transparency. Image save transparency. Maybe it's save alpha. I might just have the wrong function name here. Alpha. Let's see if that works. Okay, it was alpha. Even more descriptive. Now my comment looks a little more useless. Okay. But there you go. Now we have the transparency. It's a little better. All right. Any questions, comments, concerns about this example here? Again, this exact example I think has limited utility unless you're working with a pretty flashy design. But
For me, one thing I encounter professionally a lot is resizing images. So it's a little different than this one. But when you start getting into mobile devices and you start getting into especially the Apple laptops with the super high resolution displays, if you display a normal image on it, it will end up looking a little fuzzy. So we create very high resolution ones, and with either 2 or, in the case of Samsung phones, 3 times as many pixels, so they're a lot larger. The larger images can pull extra data. So HTML and CSS have something called image sets and source sets, where you can take one big image, put it on the server, and instead of using a text field, use something like a scale field. And then if you say 3 times, it pulls the original. 2, you get a scaled version, and 1, you get another scaled version. And that way, you don't have to have 3 separate images that you manually maintain. You only need one big one, and then the conversion is done as needed.
absolutely right. That's a great practice. I see that so much in, like, especially WordPress blogs and stuff, where it'll auto generate all the different sizes every time you upload an image, and then yeah, if the theme supports it, it outputs the image with the source set. Really cool stuff. I think I had a where did I put that link? I had an article handy here too. Another great use case. Where was that? Where'd that go? Thank you for bearing with me while I dig this one up. But I think it's a really cool resource. This one was actually sent to me by Ivan as well. Might be faster if I just search here. Okay, yeah, maybe I'll just do a browser search. It was a CSS tricks article. And it was about using PHP to generate all of your open graph images as well. Let's see. To offer sharing, rendering. I might have to dig it up after the talk here, but I'll definitely include it as a resource here. Open graph, social tags, no? Oh, I can't remember the name of the article off the top of my head. In any case, yeah, another good use case for sure. All right. So next example here. Unless, was there another comment or question here before we move on? Or we're all good. Okay. So oh, this is actually a cool snippet too. Sorry, I keep jumping back and forth here. But I kind of want to show this one off. It was just in a Stack Overflow article. But someone wrote an image hue function. It's from here, this Stack Overflow. And I'll include it in the repo. But I thought this is cool, especially a case like this where we have this image of the button and it's just always going to stay red, right? Something like this where you can adjust the hue of the image just with a basic function, and you specify a number of degrees, and you can drastically change how that's going to show, right? And they have a conversion function here and stuff like that. So if I just include this script here, and this also does help show the potential. If you really want to get into the nitty gritty with the GD, you can see they're actually looping through like every single pixel, checking the color and changing the color of every pixel in this image, right? So of course there's a higher performance cost if you have to do this, but if your image isn't crazy big, like our button's a pretty reasonable size, this is still pretty darn quick. And you get some pretty nice flexibility out of that. So if we wanted to incorporate the image hue, let me just make a new file here. Keep our examples a little separate here. We'll say buttons with hue.php. Basically just copy and paste the same deal here. But in this example, we will include our current directory dot directory separator includes, maybe for readability we'll do this. Okay, and I called that image hue.php. Okay. Current directory includes image hue. Okay. So we should have access to those functions now. And I think the only change we really have to make in here now would be we would have to call upon our hue function. I think we'd be safe to just call upon it. Maybe we'll do it before alpha. I think we'd be okay to do that. Let's try it there. If it doesn't work, we can throw it beneath. Image hue, if that's what our, yep. Image hue, it takes the image and a number in degrees. So from 0 to 360, I guess. All right. We're down here. Okay, image hue, passing an image, and I don't know. Let's try 200. Let's see how that looks. All right, let's see how that works here. So back to our example, if I go to 02, buttons with hue, no, image hue did not.
I think the link to the buttons in the HTML portion need to be updated to point to the new file.
Ah, yes, good call. Number two, buttons with hue. All right. There we go. Thank you very much. So very quick change from red to blue. If we try another drastically different number here, maybe we'll go with 300. See what that looks like. Another kind of a magenta or a pink or something. 100. What are we looking at? Green now. 50. More of a yellow or an amber kind of thing. Okay. And we could even, as well, make that dynamic, much like we did with the string, right? We could even specify right in our image URLs here a number of degrees if we wanted to. All right, cool stuff. Okay. We'll close those ones down for now. And I think we'll go with the classic watermark example. Do a nice O3 GD watermark.php. And for this one, overall, our layout can be pretty similar. Start with a basic web page. We will want an image to display. I'm just going to set a max width because I think the image I have on hand is a little wide. I want to make sure it doesn't spill off the page too much or anything like that. Okay, and we'll go with source is going to be 03 GD watermark.php. Can't remember. I think the image is just the one I had downloaded earlier is just a pirate ship or something like that. Where was it here? Pirate Fox. Where is? I thought I had it in here. Let me double check. In downloads, yeah. Oh, it says it's there. Am I just blind? Am I not seeing rather the sailing ship picture? Search sailing. Okay, I'm just blind. Okay, there it is. It exists. Okay, maybe it's not a pirate ship, but it's a ship. Sailing ship. Okay. All right. So we have a reference image that maybe we want to watermark. We should also have an image that should be our watermark stamp. What do we want to put on that, right? I also have an image floating around that I think we can use for that. I have, which one here did I want to use as a watermark? This one I think I shrunk a little bit, so it's a little easier to work with. We'll put that in our assets as well. Yeah, just a little Queen Anne's Revenge ship there. And as a proof of concept and good measure, let's also, do I have this extracted? Apparently not. Okay, we'll extract this font, this Georgia font. Which apparently I had also already extracted. Oh, there it is down here. Okay. So we'll throw that in there too. So when we're generating dynamic text, we can actually grab font files and generate whatever we want. So might as well for our watermark. Okay. So we have this ready for output and ready for testing. Let me open this in our browser so as we're experimenting, we can see what's up. 03 GD watermark.php. There we go. So instead of pirate ship, maybe it's better to just say sailing ship. There we go. Beauty. So much like we did before, I think we'll just do a if we could, how do we want to mark this? This is going to be an image. We could just do something like this. Image equals true. It'll be set then. We know it's going to be an image. Or like you said, we could have done the dynamic size or something like that. Let's just start with image true. If get image, we'll say if is set. Okay, so if it knows it's going to be an image, then we will print the image. Okay. So our first step is pretty well going to be the same as in our button, except instead of the button, we're going to be grabbing our ship picture. So we want the asset directory, we want the header. Don't need text for this one. Well, we can still set a string. It just won't be dynamic this time. I want it to be watermarked as PHP Adventures, so I'll just say that's our string. Image create from PNG. I think we would want to use JPEG because this is a JPEG. Okay. So this one will do JPEG. It's not a button. It's going to be sailing ship.jpg. Okay. Then from here, we'll also want our watermark image. So this is our main image. Maybe I should name them a little more descriptively. Main image, and very similar will be our watermark image. Okay. This one needs to be from PNG. We're mixing and matching here. And this one's going to be called PHP Adventures -watermark. Okay. I think I got the capitalization right, hopefully. PHP Adventures -watermark. Okay. Sounds good. Okay, so we have our string, main image, and our watermark image. Now what are we going to do with these? So for us to actually merge two images, we use the image copy function. So we'll say our main image. Oop, I didn't actually put the function yet. Image copy. Okay, now we'll say main image, the watermark image. We do get a chance to specify where we're placing that image. So maybe we'll try and start with something like 32. We'll see how that looks. Okay. And I believe we also have the opportunity to crop the pasted image. So if we wanted to, we could override this with something. The default, I think, would just be our 00 though. 00, where this would be the beginning of visibility. Visible X, I'll say. Visible X of watermark. And then the next one is dy. And then we're supposed to pick the ending points that should be visible. So if you did need to crop it, you could adjust these, but by default, we kind of want to go with our image's width. We'll say that's the end of the visible X of the watermark. Then we want the image as Y for the height. Oops. There we go. Okay. So, with any luck, that should target our main image, paste our watermark on top of it, position it 32 pixels down from the top left, and we want the entire watermark to be visible. So I'm starting at the watermarks 0, 0 and saying we should see all the way from its 0, 0 to its full width and height. Okay. Then we will go with after the image copy, I think we just do image JPEG then. Just want to send the image because I think if we've copied onto it, it should be ready to go. And we can image destroy as our cleanup here. Probably want to destroy image and the watermark image. All right, let's see if that's doing anything for us in the browser here. Sailing ship. All right, I may have missed a step. Let's find out here. Do we have an error? Do we have an error? Uncaught type error for image JPEG. Image would have needed to have been. Oh, did I type in? I didn't type in main image, did I? Main image. There we go. Naming counts. Counts for marks. All right. Refresh. Okay, now we see an image. And we can see that our little transparent watermark has been placed in that top left there. Awesome. Look at that. Beautiful. And all of these images, crunchy JPEG glory. I'm also zoomed to 200%, so I mean, that probably looks a little cleaner. All right. Nice, nice. Let me push that real quick here. And we'll see. Okay, that example should be up. Let's this time I'll remember to change out our out our image, but I will break this into a separate example, I think, here. 04 GB watermark with font. Okay, so I'll copy paste. And we want to make super sure here to change this as well. There we go. Watermark with font. So our image is updated. Anything else, I think is fine. Everything else is based on the asset directory. We're using the same images. Position, fine with me. Okay. So similar steps to last time. for our font, but we're going to be adding, naturally, a step or two to actually deal with that custom font. So we will want to, again, set a font color. That was image color allocate. Go with our image, and then it's RGB. Maybe we'll try white again and see if that shows up for us well or not. Okay. And now we want to use our custom font, so we will need our path for that. Let's see. So we should be able to use our asset dir again here, something similar to this. Except instead of a sailing ship, we want Georgia dot true type font face, right? True type TTF. It is lowercase. Okay. Then I think we're good on that front. Okay. Time to add text to our image. So in this case, we say image ft text. So this function here, we're able to add a custom text with a custom font. We'll do image. This is what we want to add our font to, or our text to. We will want our font size. Maybe just assign that up here, font size. What worked reverse last time, I think 12 was okay. We'll start with that. Font size. We want the angle of the text. So I believe this is just in degrees. So maybe we'll go with something like 7. Okay. We get an opportunity for X and Y. So we probably want to overshoot where that other image was placed. So that was 3232, right? Ooh, let's go with something a bit more than that. Especially for our Y. Maybe our X doesn't have to be. Yeah, we'll try 20, we'll do 28 in our X, and then we want to really overshoot that image. Maybe, not sure how tall that watermark image is, but we'll try our luck with 200. Okay, so we have our X, we have our Y, we can set our color. And ultimately we set our actual path. Okay. Image, font size, angle, X, Y, color, and path. Whew. The whole family's here. Actually, not quite. We're missing the string. I did set that up here, right? Okay. Yeah, we do actually want it to say something. That's all fine and dandy, but we do need to say something. Okay. Oof. Okay. We specified the image, so it should just print to that image. All right, let's see if that's still happy with us. We'll see if it looks like Georgia font. Refresh here. Oh, I don't see it. Let's see if our PHP is complaining here. No, it's not. Wait, I didn't switch files, did I here? Okay, 04, that would help. 04 GD watermark with, was it with font? Yes. Okay, now we can see if there's an error. All right, what do we got going on here? Image color allocate. Argument 1 must be of type GD image. Ah, did I use the wrong name again? Main image, right? Ooh, I did it in a few places. Okay, only these 2 places. Okay. There we go. Oh, look at that. It gets a little crunchy because I'm zoomed in a lot for demonstrative purposes, but we can see there. That's not bad. That's right beneath our little boat, using a custom serif font, Georgia, right? Awesome. Now everyone will know that I never took that picture. Okay. Nice, nice. I think I think that's all the examples I had on hand to go through for today. But hopefully, especially anyone who catches this after the meeting, hopefully these examples shed some light on basic image manipulation in PHP. Gives you a nice jumping off point and some examples to start playing with. Get your feet wet, so to speak. Any questions on any of that there? Feeling okay? All right. Well, I think that's everything for the main attraction for the day. I'll stick around for a little bit if you want to chat, but here I'll shut off our recording for the day. Thank you, everybody. Take care.
Thank you.